Per your direction from the last meeting, the city manager did meet with Woodin Creek Village to discuss some of the items that the council had raised that they wanted the city manager to talk with them about. Woodin Creek Village felt that the amount of public benefits already being provided, they felt should be adequate enough. So the proposal you've got in front of you tonight still basically represents the same one that you saw at the last meeting.
So one of the asks from the previous was about additional parking. And I still have the same question regarding parking. Will there be any additional parking?
They may have a little bit of a deficit. It depends on what goes into that commercial space. If they go with wine tasting in the facility or a restaurant, then there would be a little bit of a deficit there, but it would be within the range of that 6 to 7% of a reduction. So
there will be some additional on-street parking, although not significant probably, as part of the extension of 138th and the completion of 173rd.
Councilmember Taylor.
Was there any discussion about affordable housing?
This actually conversation wasn't new. We've had this conversation with them before, and they were not interested in doing affordable housing.
I don't hear a lot of voices asking for more apartments, but I do hear a strong voice for affordable apartments. If we're supporting the city and supporting the people that brought us here, we would be looking for some component of affordability as a benefit to the city.
You just walked us through the benefits that Woodin Creek gets from this extended development agreement or the amended. What happens if we do not sign this?
Without Woodin Creek's Village participation in this, if they're unwilling or unable to, that share, right now they have, I believe, 11% contribution share of that roundabout. That would go back to the city. Under this proposed amendment, that burden for the actual design and construction shifts to Woodin Creek, which I would argue, at least from a staff perspective, is a benefit.
So we're still on the hook, and we would just be on the hook for an increased portion.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in support of passing this.
Move to accept resolution number 617, motion, major modification to the Woodin Creek Village Development Agreement, phase 1 through 5. Go ahead and make my comment. I am a little bit disappointed that we sent something back for at least some adjustment about parking, affordable housing, and we feel like we're in a stuck position with the developer.
So in 2020, at the time, there was a lot of discussion about the below-grade housing that was going to be available. And the intention was, again, this was right before COVID, or right during COVID, that those units would be less desirable and naturally more affordable. I think that our request has been very reasonable. I don't think that if we ask that all of the below-grade housing be at some affordable level, if this developer is willing to walk away from the entire project, is that a developer that we want to work with in the future in the city? I think this sets a bad precedent for future development agreements. If you come in and you ask us enough and browbeat us enough, we're eventually going to give in. So I can't support this because that below-grade housing is already, not as desirable as a high level, and I think at the very least we could ask that be set at some affordable level. And I'm disappointed that this developer has not met with us and has not tried to really give anything in exchange for what we have offered. So I'm definitely a no on this one.
That I would love to tackle affordable housing and make it mandatory for future development agreements, but we are voting on what we have in front of us right now. And I think that that's probably as good as it's going to get today.
That I don't believe is a possibility. And I know that this developer walked completely from our project. And I think it was in Minneapolis on some of these related concerns. And I think that would be a terrible blow to. Let's take a roll call vote on this.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Councilmember Best-Campbell?
No.
Mayor Millman?
Yes.
Councilmember Arndt?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
No.
Deputy Mayor Randolph?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-2.
Of course.